This is the story on how today's Team Dumaguete came to life. What's up YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. It's the TVC season again, and today for this video I have decided to share to you the story of the community that I came from, the story on how today's Dumaguete community was created. In the previous video, I mentioned how proud I am to be a part of this team, and right now I just want to dedicate one video for the whole community. So since the Visayas Cup is around the corner, this is the story and how the Dumaguete community was formed. Dumaguete, a small yet vibrant city nestled in the Visayas region of the Philippines, was home to a growing number of Yu-Gi-Oh enthusiasts. In 2018, a turning point occurred in the local scene as two separate factions, duelists from the north side and south side, found themselves crossing paths in an unexpected place, a bustling shopping mall at the heart of the city. The south side duelists, primarily hailing from the area around the university that welcomes everyone from the south side, the University of Green, White, and Gold. There lies a close-knit group of 8 members. However, as time passed, many of them drifted away from the game due to academic and personal commitments. By 2018, only 3 active duelists remained. To them, Yu-Gi-Oh was more than just a game. It was an escape, a way to pass the time amidst the pressure of student life. Their decks, however, were far from competitive. They played using Class A decks, which, while decent, were no match for the refined strategies of experienced duelists. They had no structured tournaments, no official community events, just impromptu duels held in cafes, classrooms, music rooms, even outside the university campuses, each other's homes. Their passion for the game kept them going, but they lacked guidance and exposure to the competitive scene. In contrast, the north side duelists were a different breed. Consisting of 5 active members from various universities across the city at that time, they approached the game with discipline and ambition. Their decks were top tier, built with meta-relevant strategies, and their skills were sharpened through rigorous practice. Unlike their southern counterparts, they had a structured community, complete with an admin who managed operations from Manila, Lynx. Lynx was an experienced duelist, well connected with players from larger cities like Cebu and Manila. Under his leadership, the north side community thrived, hosting mini tournaments and participating in different competitions that outsiders host in the city. Even though Lynx was based in Manila at that time, he actively sought to expand the community, keeping in touch with his members and making sure that when they expand, everyone has access to the latest OCG releases and tournament updates, so the community would be seen in the map of competitive Yu-Gi-Oh in the Philippines. As fate would have it, the two groups met at the mall one fateful afternoon. The shopping center had become a natural meeting ground where people from all walks of life converged. The north side, seeking to revitalize the community and bring in new players, had set up casual duels in one of the open spaces in the mall's food court. Intrigued by the setup, the south side players approached, hesitant but excited. The duels that ensued were intense yet eye-opening. The difference in experience was evident. North side duelists executed precise combos and strategic plays, while the south side relied on raw passion and intuition. But despite the disparity in skill level and card pool and deck tiers, both groups found common ground. The game was their shared language, and for the first time, they weren't just two separate groups playing in isolation. They were part of something bigger. The week after that, Lynx saw potential in continuing and building two of these factions into one. He got his eye on this one player from the south side who could lead them and unite two of the bridges from south and north. Lynx decided to give one of their players an OCG deck to start with. Lynx handed over an OCG deck to his members, a deck that will start this new beginning. Lynx instructed Mel, one of his trusted duelists in the team, to contact one of the players, and the one who stepped up was this Bujin player. Bujins were known for their defensive playstyle, relying on patience and precise execution, much like the South Side duelists themselves. Recognizing this, Lincoln made a decisive move. The core deck that was given was a crawler deck, ready to play OCG deck crawlers. The deck's effect symbolizes unity, linking weaker monsters together to form a formidable force. It was an uncanny reflection of what was happening between the two groups, different in strength, but now connected by a single thread. The gift was more than just a deck. It was an invitation, a challenge, and a promise. It was a sign that the North Side wasn't just here to dominate the game. They were here to build something greater. The community wasn't just about competition. It was about bringing people together, sharing knowledge, and fostering growth. With this act of generosity, a new era for the Dumaguete Yu-Gi-Oh community has begun. The once divided groups had taken their first step towards something greater. What started as a casual encounter at the mall would soon turn into a thriving community, united by their love for the game. Though the South Side duelists still had a long way to go, they now had an opportunity to learn and prove themselves. The duelists who received the OCG deck looked at it with determination. This wasn't just a game anymore. It was the beginning of a journey. Yeah, that Bujin player was me. They bullied me, bro. I was playing Bujins with very little card pool, and then this guy Mel bullied me with Inzectors. And then this pendulum stuff was just, it was just too much. But it was the start of a new journey. The crawler deck given to Ryan was no ordinary deck. It was a fresh OCG deck carefully built to be both playable and upgradable. Ryan, that's me by the way, overwhelmed with excitement, saw this as a sign of a new beginning. He had always loved the game, but now he had the chance to play at a new level. Rather than keeping this opportunity to myself, my first thought actually were my old teammates. I was wondering if they still have the same burning passion to the game we love. After a long hiatus, it would be nice to have a journey together with them again. If I could just reignite the love for the game, then we're on to something new. We're on to something big. I was so determined that I immediately hopped into this Facebook market that we have locally. We're selling official OCG cards, which are Japanese cards, because we only can use Japanese cards if we wanna play on official tournaments here in our country, because we are in Asia. But yeah, I make sure to check on the market and maybe choose decks that would fit the playstyles of my teammates. After hours of combing through listings, negotiating with sellers, and ensuring that the decks I bought were authentic and viable, I end up buying four cores to begin with. I bought Dynamist for Michael, which I believe would be perfect for him since he liked fast-paced and aggressive styles of playing. I also got my hand on a Lightsworn core, a deck known for its explosive plays and self-milling strategies, which I think would be a perfect start for Alexis. A Clefort's core, which was a pendulum deck played by Olsen before we had our hiatus, so I think this was a perfect deck to come back to for Olsen. And a core of the Dark World strategy, a graveyard heavy deck designed for Ralph, I guess. I don't really know why I picked this. Maybe it was really affordable at that time, but I just feel like this is a deck for Ralph. Now with all the cores in hand, I personally delivered them to each of my teammates one by one. Their reactions varied, from being surprised, to being excited, to being skeptic. But one thing was clear, I know for sure that nostalgia had hit them hard. Memories of their old duels, their favorite combos, their former rivalries all come rushing back. Now that everyone has their decks, everyone bought some upgrades, did some research, which new cards could help their deck. Now everyone shuffled their cards and played their first games in years. After years of hiatus, they're back. Everyone's back. The thrill of drawing the perfect hand, executing a game-winning move, and feeling the excitement of a close match. It was all coming back. Though some were rusty and others hesitant, but I know for sure. I know what I did there. I know that the fire had been reignited. With renewed determination, me and my team made a pact that we would train, learn, and step into the competitive scene not just as casual players, but as a united force with the North Side. We were no longer just scattered duelists from the South. We were warriors ready to carve our own paths in the game. Thus, the new core of the Dumaguete Yu-Gi-Oh community was officially formed. Our journey was only beginning, but we were ready to embrace the challenge. Now, with everyone having renewed passion, the Dumaguete Yu-Gi-Oh community grew. Here is the lineup of the duelists expanded. Lynx, of course, the admin, playing Stargrail at that time. Mel with Insectors and Metalfoes. Basil with Pendulum Magicians. Jason with Gokis. Clyde with Weather Painters. Me with Crawlers. Olsen with Cliffords. Michael with Dynamists. Ralph with Dark Worlds. And Alexis with Lightsworns. With months in for the community, new faces arrived, including returnees. A new face named MJ from Mindanao playing Tindangles, and Romel, a passionate returnee who started with Metaphys but is known with a solid Crusadia deck. The biggest challenge now was the lack of an official tournament store or an OTS shop. Without one, the community struggled to access exclusive events and sanctioned tournaments, as well as updated card pools from new releases. The duelists had come far, but now they faced a new mission, gaining official recognition and proving that Dumaguete duelists were ready for the big leagues. After a year of effort, Lynx managed to strike a deal with a local shop, successfully registering it as an OTS. This achievement opened doors for the community allowing them to participate in the Yu-Gi-Oh! World Championship celebration in 2019, their first ever official Konami sanctioned event. Our excitement turned into shock when we realized that a seasoned duelist from another province have decided to visit the city and join this tournament, because the prize card of this event was actually just money. It was a money card at that time. So with limited access to the latest staples, our community has struggled against his refined Trickstar deck, which I was actually playing in the same tournament. I just didn't have the chance to take my shot against playing him, but I was so sure when I was looking at his plays, I know I have a chance to play against him and win. But we ultimately fell short as a visitor claimed the victory. This loss ignited a fire within the community. We decided to just play harder next time, give our chance to redeem ourselves, and that will be in the next event. However, we were dealt with a different set of hands. Our goal for redemption was abruptly halted when our OTS shop decided to relocate. Our only official home decided to relocate to another province, leaving the community once again without an OTS. But despite the setback, the community remained determined to find a new way forward, forging ahead with underground tournaments, online dueling, and relentless practice. That particular loss in that World Celebrations tournament was only the beginning of the community's journey. With our first official tournament loss still fresh in our minds, we set our sights on the next major event, ArchCon. ArchCon is a prestigious Cebu-based convention where duelists from various provinces gather to compete. This was our chance at redemption, to prove to ourselves that the broader Yu-Gi-Oh! Community cannot underestimate us. Determined and battle-hardened, the community assembled as a team for ArchCon. With 5 duelists, Michael with his Dynamists, Romel with his One Punch Man deck Crusadia, MJ with Altergeist, me with Trickstars, and Ralph with Burning Abyss. Each of us has spent countless hours refining our strategies, studying competitive metas, and learning from our past mistakes. Though we lacked an official OTS store, we made do by sourcing cards from online sellers and borrowing from one another to strengthen our decks. The stakes were high. This was the first time traveling to a different city to compete, and we wanted to make a statement. Among the many competitors in ArchCon, one familiar face stood out. The very same duelist who had visited our city and defeated the community during the Yu-Gi-Oh! World Championship celebration that year. For us, this was personal. We have trained relentlessly, refining our decks, preparing for the moment that we could stand across the table from this rival that we had. For me, I refined my Trickstar deck, and I was ready. I'm ready to stand across with that person. Round 3 in the tournament brackets were announced. Fate did not disappoint. I find myself matched against this opponent who had bested our community months prior. The air around the table was electric, as duelists and spectators alike gathered to witness the showdown. It was a duel for the ages. The match was an intense Trickstar mirror match, stretching across 3 games. Game 1, the opponent took an early lead, skillfully controlling the game state and denying me any chance to gain momentum. It was an easy Game 1 win. Game 2, I was able to turn the tables around, resolving scapegoats at the perfect moment and link climbing into a devastating OTK, forcing the match into a decisive Game 3. As the final game commenced, time on the round was called, meaning whoever had the highest life points at the end of the turn would take the victory. With time winding down, the opponent saw his opportunity. He activated Scapegoat, quickly link climbing into Borrelsword Dragon, aiming to push through my defenses for a final attack that would seal the win. But I had been waiting for this moment from the very beginning of the game. I had one crucial card in hand, Honest.
Makasalig yung gani ba? Promise.
Hindi na iguan bro.
Katong trickster nga maayo ko na. Ano siya ba? Very time na dili atake bitaw katay.
As the opponent declared an attack on Trickster Licorice, I confidently revealed Honest in the damage step, returning all the attacks and reflecting the damage back to my opponent. While the Dumaguete team did not win the overall tournament, our performance had heads turned. We had stepped onto an unfamiliar stage, faced off against some of the strongest duelists in the region. The crowd around the table erupted in silence as my opponent's life points dropped to 0. I had won the duel, 2-1. And had proven that we could compete at the highest level. For the first time, our community was recognized by other cities. No longer were we an isolated group of passionate duelists. We were called contenders. ArchCon became a turning point. It served as a threshold for future inter-cities and inter-province tournaments, paving the way for more ambitious endeavors. We had found our place in the broader Yu-Gi-Oh! Competitive scene, and now we believe we could take on any challenge. This event, ArchCon 2019, put Dumaguete on the Yu-Gi-Oh! Map. And from that day forward, our journey was no longer just about playing for fun. It was about proving that we belonged among the best. As time passed, the once thriving community evolved. Some duelists retired, pursuing careers in various fields. Others started families. Others moved to different provinces, or even left the country in search of new opportunities. Yet, despite the changes, the spirit of Yu-Gi-Oh! Dumaguete remained alive. A handful of dedicated players stayed behind, committed to continue the legacy. New generations of duelists rose to take up the mantle, stepping into the competitive scene with the same hunger and passion that had defined their predecessors. The name Yu-Gi-Oh! Dumaguete became a badge of honor, a symbol of perseverance and love for the game. Though the faces may change, the heart of the community beats on. The pride of being a duelist from this city endures, reminding everyone that no matter where life takes them, they will always be part of something greater. A story forged in competition, camaraderie, and the timeless thrill of the duel. Thank you for watching, everyone. This is RM Games. And if you like these kinds of videos where I cover stories or personal experiences within the game, you can drop in the comments below. Make sure you like the video. You can share the video if you want, and hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. It will really help this channel. And I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.